Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackHere.com. Today we're going to show you how to take your Yamaha R7 from this to this with our new Rage LED front turn signal install. Out with the ugly, in with the sexy. That is the theme of today's project. We have to remove the side fairings, right? We're going to show you every single step in this video that it takes to install these turn signals. These look amazing. We did the rear fender eliminator first, right? We did the mirror block offs. This thing is all new raged out now, and it looks epic in my opinion. The flash rate also, which was nice, when we installed just the rear fender eliminator, it didn't change the flash rate at all. I'm assuming that would be the same for the front turn signals. You could just install those and your flash rate is still going to be good. Plug and play product. These guys do a great job over there. We've installed this stuff on several project bikes and it's always turned out kick-ass. Highly recommend this stuff. This is why I take the time to do the install video for you guys. Tools required for this job. I got a 3mm T-handle. I got a 4mm T-handle. I got a little baby flat-bladed screwdriver. I got a stubby little Phillips screwdriver. And full disclosure, one of these little clips, man, it gets broken during the video, and I have my Chinese-produced, Amazon-sourced variety pack of clips, so that way when I run into one of these situations, I've got a spare to put in there. And when I look at these, I think maybe these are the same ones that were used to hold together the Chinese spy balloon that was floating over the US. I don't know. You tell me. Watch the install. If you have any questions, as always, leave those in the comment section of the YouTube video, man. I'm always here to help you guys out. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the front turn signal install, the new Rage front turn signal install. We're going to begin by removing this fastener right here. We're going to do this on both sides. This is a coarse threaded 4mm internal hex. It's identical on both sides. Got to release these clips. Push pin, push in on the center to release. Tight. There we go. There's a total of 3 of those. There's another one right up here on the very front edge of the tank. Obviously, this is the same for both sides. So far, we've already done the rear fender eliminator with the LED turn signals, as well as the mirror block off. So this is going to complete our cosmetic overhaul, right? New Rage pieces. Okay, now to remove this, you need to slide it forward. It's going to disengage some retainers that lock it into position. Do that for both sides. And then we'll raise the bike. Actually, what I should do before I do that is there's this little clips right here. Okay, and that helps to hold the side fairing into position. Go ahead and release that. It's going to be the same on both sides. Now we can go up scope. Okay, bike's up in the air. Now we're going to go ahead and we have to remove this little panel right here. There are 4 fasteners in total. 2 are clips that have a Phillips head screw in the center. You need to rotate them counterclockwise. to release it. You can see how you turn it and it pops up just a little bit, and you're able to reach up in there and disengage it the rest of the way. You're going to find one of those on either side, right there. When you rotate it, you really don't put any downward pressure on it. You just kind of turn it. This one's kind of holding itself in there, so we're going to let that hang. It's disengaged. And there's two fasteners up front here. That one pin that's kind of caught in there. Now we're able to kind of wiggle this around a little bit. It's going to help me break that loose, like so. Now it's out. And then you just simply pull forward on this, and it comes right off. Put that to the side. Now we have to remove inside here. There are some clips, and let's grab a light real quick. See it here, here, and here. There's 3 on either side, okay? And it's the same style clip that we just showed you previously. We'll leave this thing just kind of chilling out there so we have a little bit of light to work with. There's 1, 2. Won't be long, we'll have race body work on this bike. We have never even ridden this thing. We've been so busy the last couple of years racing that this project kind of got stalled out, and we've never even had an opportunity to take this thing out. That is going to change this year. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully both of us get a chance to ride it once we get it prepped out for the track. Okay, the clips are out. I did break one. Bummer, I've got some spares, not a big deal. Now we're ready to start disassembling the lower fairing. So we're going to have a combination of fasteners here. Up front, there are 2 little pins. Going to push in to release. Like so. Then we'll come over here. It's 4mm internal hex. One all the way at the back. Little top hat spacer came out. You just want to be just kind of aware of that as you go. Now we'll come up here to the mid fairing. These are 4mm internal hex with a coarse thread. Go ahead and pull those out. And now you'll be able to pull this and kind of rotate this out like so. That panel comes right off. Realistically, you know what? I could leave this stuff here on the bottom for this project. We don't really need to take that out. So I'm going to throw this one back in, as well as the one all the way at the back. That little nose can kind of chill out on there. So we're just going to leave that. All right, now we'll head on over to the other side. Got one back here. Like so. And there's one more right down here that's going to need to come out. Kind of grab it right here. See, I'm kind of rotating it like so. Off that comes. Now we need to get this little panel right here on the side. There's a little Christmas tree clip right there. Push down on this harness retainer here. Fastener back here. Take that one off. Go ahead and disconnect your turn signal harness here, like so. Now, you need to come up here and kind of push forward. There is a wiring harness that runs through this retainer right here. Release that. And now we have the side panel off. When we come back, we're going to begin disassembling the OEM turn signal and installing the new Rage on the right side fairing. Okay, here are the new Rage front signals for the Yamaha R7. These things are sweet. If you want instructions, you got to go to the new Rage website. They have detailed instructions all printed off right there, ready for you. Okay. Here are the signals. Plug and play with factory connectors. I got to get a 3mm T-handle. Got that sitting over here. Now let's begin by removing the original Yamaha signal. Let's release the wiring harness from its retainers. Come down here, spread apart the rubber to release the internal plastic clip. All right, once you get that retainer out, just going to kind of deform the rubber on the turn signal stalk. It's going to allow that to pass right through. All right, and now let's find the one for the right side. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the signal that's going to be for the right side. You see the finished edge here, right? That is going to go towards the top. The unfinished edge is going to go towards the bottom. Go ahead and disassemble the signal. Got the fastener off. The exterior plate, that's metal, that's plastic. And then you have this interior piece, right, that has a little split. Go ahead and let the signal chill out over here. We're going to come over to the panel. And what we want to do here is you need to get this piece installed, like so. You're going to have to kind of support all this a little bit. Wait, hang on. Okay, once you have it all together, let's go ahead and pass the harness back through that spacer The spacer's got a split in it, so you're able to compress it and get it installed in here. Kind of dip the tail end of it in and work with this until you have it in position, like so. Go ahead and pass your signal back through. Be careful not to push that spacer plate all the way back through. Go ahead and slide this spacer over. You kind of support it from the back side. I've got it resting on this stool. It's going to help hold it into position. Now you get your metal retainer plate. Slide that over the harness. Put a little pressure. Some slots. You know, this is going to be a permanent install for you, which it's going to be for most. Just the tiniest little dab of blue thread locker here probably not be a bad idea. Snug that up. Does not require a ton of torque, just a little bit. Looks nice and clean. Now let's go ahead and take our wiring harness. Plug and play, baby. Go ahead and get that all routed up into position. And we can come up here now. This needs to go in the slot right up here at the very front. And then we're going to kind of pull back, push in to engage the second clip. Lift up just a little bit. That's going to hold itself right there. Come back here. Grab the 4 mil. Here's the fastener that we pulled from this one. Snug that up. Let's go ahead and come up here. Let's grab a hold of the wiring harness. Let's find the factory harness. Dip that under, gauge it in the fairing. We come back up here. Some of this is hard to show, admittedly. Right? I'm in here trying to work, totally in the cameraman's way. But when you're tackling the project yourself, you're going to have a lot more access. It's going to be wide open. We're going to leave it here. We're going to go get the fairing off the other side, come back over here, get the turn signal installed, and then once you have everything wired up and plugged in, before you put the whole bike back together, you want to make sure all the connections are good and everything that you've installed is working properly. Let's come over to the other side. Let's go ahead and get that fairing off. Got to pull this little panel over here. It's super similar to the other side. A couple of those 4 mil internal hex coarse thread fasteners. Then you've got a Christmas tree that engages with a rubber grommet. Put that to the side. Let's go ahead and disengage our harness. Disengage the connector. Got that wiring harness runs through that little clip up here that's part of the fairing. I want to go ahead and release that. Got our retainer back here. Pull out on the panel. Got to get it past that Woodcraft frame slider. So it's out and push forward. Now we can go over to the other side and remove this and install the other turn signal. So same thing we just showed you. out on those the rubber lips, disengage the retainer. Deform the rubber portion of the stalk. Remove that. Here is the one for the left side. It's a pretty cool design, some engineering here, man. Well executed again, of course. Slide that off. Pass that through. Got to get that to compress. Just got to fiddle around with this a little bit till you get it in there, like so. Once you have that in, maybe support that a little bit. Get your signal, push your signal through, kind of support it with the stool, or hold it with your fingers, whichever works better for you. Let's go ahead and get this second plate spacer over the harness. Make sure we're close enough there. You can see those tabs are engaged with the slots. I'll repeat, I think that maybe just that little tiny bit of blue thread locker might not be a bad idea there. Make sure your little spacer plate is engaged. Move this around a little bit. There we go. Small fastener, very reasonable amount of torque. There's the remnants of the clip I broke. Push that out. I've got a box of spares. We're going to have to dig into that. Let's go ahead and secure our wiring harness, like so. Let's go back over to the other side, slide this fairing back on the bike. Right there. Push back. Make sure we're lined up. Push in. Go ahead and put the fastener in now if you like. Like so. OEM connector. Super sweet plug and play. Secure that in position. Got the little harness here that goes through and you're going to see this on your fairing when you're in there. So if you can't see it now because Lucas is too short to reach it and I'm in the way, don't worry. You'll have a good look at it when you're doing your own project. Okay, now before we do anything else, let's make sure that everything we just installed works and the connections are good. Key on. Well, look at that. Okay, we're back. Lucas stepped on the control pedal for the table and let all the air out so the bike went down. Turn signal on the left side. Man, you got it. This looks epic, right? Looks epic, and it works. Turn it off. Let's turn on the other side. Look at that. Everything is working as designed. We'll go ahead and key off. Let's go ahead and get our motorcycle put back together. Grab your little panel back here. Engage that Christmas tree clip into the rubber grommet. Going to use the 2 black coarse thread fasteners, 4mm internal hex. Get them both seated. Apply an appropriate amount of torque. You don't want to go crazy on these. That's just a tiny little metal J-nut. Okay, now once we've done that, let's come over here and let's go ahead and get that mid-fairing reinstalled on the bike. You can see we've got a series of clips here. There's some locator pins that engage with some holes on the fairing. This stuff is going to be way more apparent right when you actually have yours in your hand. Kind of slide that up and into position like so. Take a look at it, make sure everything's lined up. You don't have any odd gaps, which would indicate that you don't have it clipped on correctly. As with the other fasteners that we just installed in that little black panel above this, these are coarse thread fasteners, tiny little metal J-nut. There is no need to apply a ton of torque to these. If you do, you'll just damage them. Give them a couple of passes, make sure you got them good. Now down here lower, there is going to be a Christmas tree clip and a rubber grommet. Reach back in there, find those. Make sure this tab goes behind this black panel right here. Just like that. Go ahead and put your fastener back in on this side. Torque that down. Put our clip back here in the front. Bam. All right, let's go over to the other side. Basically doing all the same shit, just on the other side. There's your Christmas tree clip, there's your rubber grommet. Let's find it, get it in the hole, man. There's a little locator pin there. You want to make sure that you have that in the hole. 2 4mm internal hex coarse thread fasteners are used back here. Same deal as the other side. Appropriate torque. This is just like the other side, right? You got your little locator pin up here, you got the clips. This one has proven to be a little difficult to get lined up. So take your time. You can clearly see now I've got that fully engaged. It was getting that locator pin to go through the alignment hole behind it. No weird gaps. We are good to go. Let's get these all started and then we'll give them a nice torque. Alrighty, got a Christmas tree clip right back there. Make sure that tab's going behind there. Pop, that's all good. Got 2 fasteners, 4mm internal hex. One down here. One tab up front, or one clip, I'm sorry. All right, when we come back, we'll be installing the clips back inside that interior panel. Okay, now we'll go ahead and install those clips and that little fairing piece. I bought this thing off Amazon, man. It's got all kinds of clips in there, tremendous assortment, right? Now, I don't know that Jeff Bezos needs any more money, but that's a great place to go get this. And then when you break one of these clips like I did, you're gonna have a spare right there, and you're not gonna have to run out anywhere to go and pick one up. Okay, just kind of hold the panels together, push in. All you have to do to re-engage that is just push in on the center. We've got 3 on either side. Whoops. Like so. Jump over here to the other side. Once again, kind of apologize for the limited access, just kind of the nature of the beast. And one last one down here on the bottom. Like so. Let's go ahead and grab our little nose fairing piece. This kind of slides in there. You see this tab right here? It engages right there. Kind of slides in. It kind of holds itself in place long enough to get your fasteners in. You got your 2 push pins here. One on the other side. That one clipped in. And these are, once again, those coarse thread fasteners. These go right up at the leading edge. Final torque. We can lower this bad boy down. Let's get our little panels for the side of the fuel tank. Okay, so you can see the clips, right? It needs to slide forward and then back. So dip it into position, kind of slide it forward, and then you, just like that, just pull back on it. It's going to lock itself loosely into position. The other side, same deal. The whole. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot these again. Pop these back off. Yep, those little retainers. I think I forget those literally almost every time. And today I just don't feel like cutting it out. We're just going to leave it. Okay, let's go ahead, and this is basically just to reverse what we showed you earlier. There's that hole right up here. This kind of helps to secure that side fairing in position. The goal with every project should be to not end up with more fasteners, right? Spare fasteners just laying around. You want to put everything back in. Lock that into position again. Let's go ahead and put all the push pins in, 3 per side. And then we have our 4mm internal hex fasteners, 1 for each side. Go ahead and toss those bad boys in. I'll show you on the other side. It's one of those coarse thread fasteners. Uses that little metal J-nut. Well, alrighty then. Looks like we're done. Let's turn them on again because, man, do these look amazing. Look at that. Look at how clean, right, aerodynamic, and most importantly, visible. They've done a great job with producing a product that not only looks great, but when you're out street riding with this thing, you turn these on, people are going to see them. They're going to see them, I would argue, every bit as well as the ugly OEM ones that were installed from the factory. Much cleaner look. The project, you saw it, it's not super difficult. I do have the benefit of having removed and reinstalled these fairings a few times, and you see I still forget clips, and we just showed you that. Worked out a bunch of other bikes too, that helps. If you follow the steps in this video, odds are you're gonna get a great result from your project. I think this is a really good product, man. They did a nice job. The engineering, the fit, the plug and play connectors, I love all that stuff because once you get these installed, this isn't gonna be a product where you're gonna have trouble with connections down the road. You know, you used a butt connector or a Scotch lock or just something that's super hokey. Those are OEM connectors, they plug right in. In my mind, that adds a lot of value to it, and it makes it much more of a factory style install than some of the other stuff that we've seen over the years. If you like what you see and you have questions during your install or after or before your install, I answer all the YouTube questions myself, and I'm always here to help you get the same result from your project that we got from ours.